I'll be talking about the preparation strategies that I use for my preparation. So, dividing the CAT into other three sections. In BARC, the best strategy that I think that the aspirants can use is reading a lot, reading books, reading editorial pieces and newspapers, reading out anything. Because what it does is helps you catch the thought flow of the narrative, which will actually help you in solving the questions that have been given after the passage. So I've seen many students, and it is a problem that I faced myself, is uh, grasping the narrator's thought process. What is he thinking? What is the passage actually talking about? So if you read books and if you read newspapers, so what it does is it conditions your mind to actually follow what the narrator is saying, catching those themes that may be in the background or the tones that the narrator is using. These types of questions come a lot in the passage that are given. Also, I would also like to say that there is a section in VARC that is TITA, type in the answers. These consist of parajumbles and those questions. These questions should be prepared in with utmost sincerity, and they should always be attempted, because these questions don't have a negative marking with them, and they can be they can be prepared for with a little bit of effort. Once you put in enough practice in them, it is very easy to actually understand how these questions can be solved. And they have almost they have no risk in them, because you don't have negative marks in them. So I think students should definitely consider going practicing in detail for TITA answers. For long passages, for short passages, I think it would be very easy if you are in a habit of reading or you have solved a lot of mocks and questions in that. But for the longer passages where most of the students do get stuck, I think reading a lot of books and editorials would help. And even if you are stuck in such a passage, I think it is very important to remind yourself that CAT is not an exam where you have to solve all the questions. There will be two or three easy questions, and there will be two or three hard questions. So if there are two or three hard questions that you cannot solve at all, so it would be better to move ahead than getting stuck in that or attempting something and getting negative marks for that. Talking about the next section, DILR. In DILR, my advice would be to go for width. So I went for width rather than depth. I tried to solve more type of questions than solve a single type of questions multiple times and going in depth for it. So what this happens is you get to understand the techniques that you have to use in certain types of questions. For example, arrangements questions or timetable questions. So if you just keep on solving timetable questions, so yeah, granted, you will get very good at it, but then one of the major aspects in solving DILR section is set selection. And if you don't get that question, so set selection would become very difficult. Whereas if you go for width, you solve many different type of questions. So that probability that a particular set will come which you have already solved before, you know how to approach that question. You know how to build the right tables for it and the right visualization, which would help you solve the LR question. That increases, and that would actually help you very much in set selection, which is a very important part in LR, because out of 6 sets, you only need to solve 2 or 3 sets to get around 99% time. So set selection is very important, and not getting stuck on a particular set is equally important, because solving a particular LR question takes time. And if you get stuck, and it creates a negative loop in your mind that you have to solve it, and you keep on trying and trying, and then ultimately, if you don't solve it, it messes up your entire flow of the exam. So in DILR, try to solve as many type of questions as possible, which will help you understand how that particular type of question has to be approached. And in the actual exam, try to solve it put in a certain, divide your time in this section, and if that time is up, move on from it, try different questions, and if the set is finished, then you might come back to it later. But don't get stuck in a particular question and waste all your time. That would that can actually result in you getting not be able to solve the questions which you could have actually solved and scored good marks in. For DI, again, it is a very calculation heavy section, and uh, using books, you can understand how to solve particular. Again, you have to go into it. I mean, different types of graphs, different types of charts. You have to know how to read each one of them. So it would actually help you in the exam scenario. It would help you know how to approach a question, because after that, DI is pretty easy. It is basic calculation. The major thing is just knowing how to approach a question and how to start solving the question. Once you get that, DILR can, I mean, it is, DILR as a section is easy. You just have to know how to tackle a particular question. Talking about the next section, which is QA. So, quant, it is one of the sections where you have to focus on depth. You have to take a question and you have to solve. I mean, unless and until you get very good at it, you cannot move ahead. And also, you by giving mocks and sectional mocks, you will know which section is your strength and which section is your weaknesses. So you have to decide what are you going to do, because again, CAT is not an exam where you have to solve all the questions. CAT is an exam where you have to maximize the number of questions which you can attempt correctly. So if you may look to quit a few topics which you are not at all comfortable with, or if you are seeing that you are getting a few of the questions right in that topic and few of the questions wrong, so you may want to try to build on that. So the thing which can help here is analyzing the past year's question paper. That would help you understand what is the weightage of each chapter. I mean, how many questions come from algebra, how many questions come from trigonometry, etc. So that would help you smartly allocate your time and resources. I mean, what time should you be giving to trigonometry? For example, if 4 or 5 questions are coming, so that would mean you would need to brush up on this, and because there are 4 questions on stake, number system and the like. So you have to understand how many questions come from each chapter, and by analyzing that, you can analyzing that and the mocks. So where are you strong at? Are your strong areas? Do your strong areas have more weightage in the actual exams? So understanding all of that and analyzing the exams and mocks, that is very important in QA. Also, I would suggest you going once you've completed the books. So once you've completed the questions from the books, I would also suggest you go and solve questions from other sources. And the next and the most important part of your preparation would be mocks. So mocks are easily the most important part of your preparation, and while giving mocks, try to replicate the exam conditions. Set a timer, and don't take breaks in between. Don't talk to anybody in between. Ensure that you have a very silent and isolated atmosphere, which can help you concentrate on the exam and solving it. Even in between the sets, don't try to. Just replicate what you will be getting in the exam. Certain amount of time for each section, or just like I said in DILR, certain amount of time for each set. So that is also very important. So replicate what you would be getting in exam, and then analysis is also very important. Like where you are doing good, what are the topics where you have prepared but you are not getting the answers in the exam, because undoubtedly there would be many after the first or second mock, you would be getting those topics in which you are prepared just recently, but you just couldn't get the answers correctly. So that would mean you would need more preparation in those subjects, or you need to solve in different types of questions. Like I said, going to different sources and solving. So analysis of mock is very important, where you are doing good. What is the what are the areas where you need more preparations, etc. And this is where I think EduShastra is one of the best features, because EduShastra gives you adaptive learning, which is an AI-based system where it can guide you depending on where you need more focus or where you are good at. So you can take help of that, and you can actually guide your preparation from a data-backed thing. So where if you're doing wrong for certain areas, so you can put in more focus on them and improve. Thank you.